be easy, but we must continue to press forward. And how do we as lawyers
intend to do that?
Well, first of all, you know, our role as lawyers, as the president is so fond of saying, he quotes the late Christopher Shakpara Williams very often, to the extent that he's almost been called Mr. Y.C. Mekiao Christopher Shakpara Williams. And he was the very first Nigerian ever to be called to the bar, become a lawyer. And he had a quote that he said often, that the president often quotes, is that a lawyer lives for the advancement of the cause of his people. So how do lawyers plan to do that? This is what our role as lawyers is. As you know, the motto of the association is promoting the rule of law. And in that promotion of the rule of law, we advance the cause of the nation. So pressing forward, an ideal to press forward would naturally sit very well with lawyers, because our role in society is to press forward, to continue to promote the rule of law, to continue to ensure that society develops, you know, along strategic lines. By promoting the rule of law, there's nothing that can happen without the rule of law.
Right.
So that's how we plan to do it. And each conference, in its themes, in its particular areas in which we target, strives to do that one way or another.
Interesting.
Interesting stuff. And I know that Nigerians are actually looking forward to what will definitely come out of it. There are so many, drama that actually ensued in the very last conference. Was it last conference?
No, it wasn't the last conference.
The conference before the last one. But all the same, we'll talk about that much later. But, if you look at the young aspiring lawyers, some of those who are in school looking forward to, joining the profession and getting into the field. But some are always saying, why do we even have to trust the lawyers? Are there some things that we need to look out forward to, that will definitely come out of this particular conference, which will be to the benefit of not just the lawyers, but those who make use of the lawyers?
Every conference strives to do that. So what do we try to achieve with the conferences? The sessions are carefully curated, right, to reflect the dynamism that society is. You see, law is at once a science, an art, and a social science, right? The law is very, very much in tune with what goes on in society. The law changes according to what happens in society. That's why you keep seeing iterations of various laws that are promulgated in order to address current realities, future realities. So, indeed, at every point in time, the society looks as it ought to the legal profession to provide direction, to provide support. And so when you say, what can lawyers and citizens look forward to? The more we interrogate the issues that affect us as a society from a legal standpoint, the more beneficial it is to the society, because that's what we are here to do. So certainly in this conference as well, there are emerging areas of law which the conference will address. There are traditional areas of law which continue to see improvements and changes, which the conference will address. We try to make the conferences as practical as possible so that every practitioner can take something away from the conference that will assist him or her in the profession, and therefore in their quest to provide direction for the people.
Very important. Another aspect is the confidence reposed on lawyers. This time around, recall that after the 2023 election, there were so many issues around confidence reposed on law, the legal practitioner, their involvement in politics and all of it. I wonder if this is also a conversation that will be coming up in this conference, and how you intend to do that as well.
Always, always, as I said, the fact that the law or the lawyers or the legal profession reflects realities in the society suggests that every time there's a topical issue, topical changes, they must be addressed. So for instance, we have a session on addressing conflicting decisions from the court. So that's a topical issue. That's something which affects not just the legal profession, but also investment. There must be sanctity of contracts and sanctity of decisions, if you like, consistency in our decisions. Otherwise, we don't provide an enabling environment for investment to thrive. You know, investors must know that if they enter into contracts in Nigeria, if they invest in Nigeria, should a dispute arise, as they would often do in all human interaction, then there's a certainty of what the outcome could possibly be. Yeah. So certainly that's an issue that's been looked at. Coming out of elections last year, we did have sessions on the elections. We continue to have sessions on the elections in an attempt to make sure that our election cycles are always better. We shorten the period and the disputes that arise from those. The CAMA, which was originally the one we were using, was the 1968 Act, and which saw humongous changes the last couple of years, is being looked at. Yes, we have a law for persons living with disability, and we're examining how far that law has gone since it's been passed into law, how well it has protected persons living with disability,
right,
and how well it's future-proofed, if you like. Yeah. So there are always sessions that will address everything that's going on around us.
So just give us highlights of the sessions.
So I just did.
Okay.
Yes, I'll tell you. So very exciting. We have the first woman, first African to lead the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, GCON. She is giving the opening keynote address at the opening ceremony. Yes, we're very excited about that. At the opening plenary the following day, we have the former president of Ghana, Mr. John Dramani Mahama, who's going to give the keynote address at the opening plenary.
Right.
In that plenary as well, session which is particularly exciting to me, we have female bank leads. You know, right now we have about 11 female, yes, banks that are being headed by women. Unfortunately, the time of year did not allow us to have all of them on stage. That's the powerful picture that we wanted to project at the MBA conference. But we have a few of them who are coming in person, and we're very excited about that. We've called that session "The Glass is Shattered."
Oh, wow.
Yes, and we're
not shattering the shattering the glass.
Not shattering the glass.
The glass is shattered.
Everything is
shattered. Yes, because we take the view that the fact that we have 11 women heading banks is a huge step for gender advancement.
Absolutely.
It's a huge milestone for gender advancement in this country. We want to talk about that. We want to hear their stories, you know, how they got there. We have at least 50% of the legal profession is women and doing very well in various endeavors of life. As you know, and permit me to boast a little bit about the profession, you will find that most world leaders, shall I say successful world leaders, have a law degree. They're all lawyers. And so we want to learn from people who have leadership positions to prepare our female lawyers and male lawyers for the leadership professions, positions that the legal profession prepares us for naturally. Right. I'm not going to let too many cats out of the bag. We still want more people to register for the conference.
Right.
But I'm very proud of the program that we've curated for this conference. We've been calling it internally a conference like no other. That's what we've promised, a conference like no other. Yeah. And in all ramifications, including the sessions, the side events, and so on, everything. Today, for instance, we start our football competition. We have the President's Cup at every conference, and that starts a few days before the conference actually starts. So it's kicking off today, and lawyers, we have about 129 branches all over Nigeria. So lawyers from the various branches, they compete for the President's Cup. And a few years ago, we started having female football as well. So that's very exciting.
It's interesting to watch.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I love the fact, you know, each time you mention female this, female that, and I saw